Mr. Jake, please marry my mom. 5 words from a 7-year-old that would flip a widower's world upside down. Jake Morrison thought he was just fixing a stranger's car that Tuesday afternoon. He had no idea the little girl watching through the window was about to crack open a heart he'd locked up 3 years ago. But before any happy ending, there'd be panic attacks, a vindictive ex-husband, and a choice that could destroy 2 families. Dad, your wedding ring's been living in that toolbox for 3 years. Jake's wrench slipped, nearly took off his knuckle. He looked up at Sophie standing in the garage doorway, backpack hanging off one shoulder. Those 8-year-old eyes cutting straight through every excuse he'd ever made. Sophie, that's not... Mrs. Chen says you're gonna die alone. Mrs. Chen needs to... Jake bit back the curse. That's not appropriate, bug. She's not wrong, though. Sophie walked closer. Her voice cracked. I miss Mom, too. But I also miss having a dad who isn't a ghost. The words hit like a sledgehammer. Jake opened his mouth, but an engine coughing and dying outside cut him off. He'd never been so grateful for car trouble in his life. Across the street, a black Mercedes sat dead hood up. A woman in a navy suit paced beside it, phone glued to her ear, one hand slicing through the air in sharp gestures. Inside the car, a little girl with dark curls pressed her face against the window. Duty calls, Jake muttered. We're talking about this later, Sophie called after him. Yeah, sure, later. Jake jogged across the street. The woman was mid-rant. No, Richard, I don't care what the client wants, the contract clearly. Yes, I read it, I wrote it. She spotted Jake, held up a finger. 2 minutes, just 2, fine, fine, send the draft. She ended the call, turned to him. Up close, she looked like someone barely holding it together. Expensive suit, yes, but there was a coffee stain on the collar, hair falling out of its bun, shadows under her eyes that makeup couldn't hide. Car trouble? Jake asked. Is it that obvious? Her laugh was bitter. Sorry. Yes, dead. Won't start. I have a meeting in 40 minutes and every shop in town has a 3-hour wait. Mind if I look? You know cars? Skeptical, taking in his grease-stained shirt and worn jeans. I own Morrison's Auto across the street, 20 years experience. Her whole body sagged with relief. Oh, thank God. Yes. Please, I'll pay whatever. Jake popped the hood, scanned the engine. Battery terminals corroded, one barely hanging on. Mommy, what's happening? The little girl's voice floated out. It's okay, Lily. This man's helping us. The woman's voice went soft when she talked to her daughter. It did something to Jake's chest he didn't want to think about. Hi, Mr. Nice Man. The girl waved. Jake waved back, focused on the engine. Classic problem. Easy fix. You got tools? He asked. I have. She opened the trunk. Empty, except for a spare tire and laptop bag. Nothing useful. Hang on. He ran back to his shop, grabbed his kit. Sophie had followed him out. Who's that? She whispered. Someone who needs help. She's pretty. Sophie. What she is. And she has a kid. Jake ignored that landmine and got to work. 5 minutes. Tightened the terminals, cleaned the corrosion, turned the key. Engine purred. You're kidding me. The woman stared at her car like it had betrayed her. That's it. Loose battery terminal. These models do that. You should get a full service soon, though. What do I owe you? Already reaching for her purse. Nothing. Her hand froze. What? No charge. Took 5 minutes. Consider it a neighborhood welcome. I can't just, I have to pay you something. Then pay it forward. Help someone else down the line. She stared at him like he'd grown a second head. Sophie piped up. Thank you, works. Thank you. The woman's voice changed, softer. Really, I've had the worst month, and this was about to be the cherry on a catastrophic sundae. The little girl Lily had jumped out of the car. She marched up to Jake, holding a slightly squished cookie wrapped in a napkin. Here. Solemn as a judge. You're really nice, Mr. Jake. Not a lot of people stop anymore. Mommy says the world's getting colder, but I think you're warm. Jake's throat went tight. He knelt down, took the cookie. Thank you, Miss Lily. Best payment I ever got. She beamed. Then spotted Sophie, trying to look cool and failing. Hi, I'm Lily. I'm 7. You like unicorns. Sophie, 8. Unicorns are cool, I guess. Want to see my unicorn coloring book? It's in the car. Just like that, the two girls were giggling in the back seat, and Jake and this woman were standing there suddenly very aware of each other. Your daughter's sweet, the woman said. Yours too. I'm Elena, by the way, Hartwell. I should have led with that. Jake Morrison. Well, Jake Morrison, you just saved my entire day. She hesitated. I know this is forward, but can I buy you and Sophie dinner? To say thank you properly. Lily would love it, and honestly, I'd love some adult conversation that doesn't involve legal briefs. Every instinct Jake had screamed to say no, to retreat to his safe, lonely, predictable life. But Sophie was laughing in that car. Really laughing. When was the last time he'd heard that, yeah, he heard himself say? Okay, dinner. Elena's house was paper chaos, held together by expensive furniture. Files everywhere. Coffee mugs breeding on every surface. Takeout containers staging a coup on the kitchen counter. Ignore the mess, Elena said, frantically clearing space. Housekeeper quit last month, work's been insane. It's fine. You should see my place. Jake started helping stacking papers. Single-parent housing always looks like a tornado hit it. Elena stopped, looked at him. You get it. Most people walk in here and judge. Most people don't know what drowning in slow motion feels like. Yes. Her whole face lit up. Exactly. Everyone thinks money makes it easy. But money doesn't tuck your kid in, doesn't show up to school plays, doesn't make you less exhausted. The girls thundered down from upstairs. Lily wore a unicorn headband. Sophie had temporary tattoos of stars covering her arms. Can we order pizza? Lily asked. We're having pizza, honey. I know, but can we order it now? I'm starving, Elena ordered. They ate at the cleared table, the girls interrupting every 3 seconds with debates about Disney princesses and whether dogs were better than cats. Dad doesn't like dogs, Sophie announced. That's not true. I just don't have time for one. Because you're always working. There was an edge in Sophie's voice, a hurt. Elena caught it. Lily tells me the same thing. Mommy, you love your computer more than me. I don't say it to be mean, Lily protested. I say it because it's true. Jake and Elena locked eyes across the table. Understanding passed between them without words. After dinner, the girls begged for a movie. Elena looked at Jake with a question in her eyes. One movie, he agreed. Then home. School night. They settled on the couch, girls between them. Some animated thing with talking animals. Halfway through, Lily dozed off against Elena's shoulder. Sophie was fighting sleep, head drooping. This was nice, Elena whispered. Really nice. Yeah. When the movie ended, Jake carefully scooped up Sophie. She mumbled, wrapped her arms around his neck. Elena walked them to the door, Lily sleepy and clinging to her hand. Thank you, Jake said. Thank you. For being good company. Anytime. Jake turned to leave. Lily suddenly perked up, tugged free from Elena, and ran to him, looking up with those two serious eyes. Mr. Jake. Barely a whisper. Yeah, sweetheart. She stood on tiptoes. He bent down. What she whispered made his entire world tilt. Please marry my mom. She smiles when you're here. She never smiles anymore. Jake pulled back, stared at this 7-year-old who'd just casually blown up his life. Lily smiled at him, innocent and hopeful. Lily, what did you say? Elena was walking over. Nothing. Mommy, just that Sophie should come over again. The kid could lie. Oh. Well, yes, of course. You guys are welcome anytime. Jake nodded. Couldn't speak. Carried Sophie to his truck, buckled her in, drove home on autopilot. Please marry my mom. The words echoed all through Sophie's bedtime routine, all through his own failed attempt at sleep. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling, his wedding ring on the nightstand catching moonlight. Claire had been gone 3 years. 3 years of telling himself Sophie was enough, that he didn't need anything else. But tonight he'd laughed. Really laughed. Felt like a person, instead of just a dad going through motions. And Lily had named the thing he'd been too scared to admit. He wanted to smile again, too. Morning came too fast. Jake was buried in an oil change when his phone rang. Unknown number. Morrison's auto. Jake, it's Elena, Hartwell, from last night. Nervous. His heart did something stupid. Hey, car okay? Car's fine. That's not... She took a breath. This is gonna sound crazy, but Lily won't stop talking about Sophie. She wants to know if you guys can come to the park with us Saturday. There's a farmer's market face painting the whole thing. I know it's presumptuous, we barely know each other, but Lily's been drawing pictures all morning and... Yes. Silence. Yes. Yeah, we'll come. Oh, thank God. I was worried I was being that desperate single mom. Trust me, if I wasn't interested, I'd say no. Too tired to be polite. She laughed. Brutal honesty. I can work with that. They made plans. After he hung up, Jake caught his reflection in a hubcap. He was smiling. You're being weird, Sophie said at dinner. How am I weird? You're happy. What happened? Nothing. Can't I be in a good mood? Sophie narrowed her eyes. Does this have to do with Lily's mom? Jake focused on his spaghetti. We're going to the farmer's market with them Saturday. The squeal Sophie let out probably violated noise ordinances. Saturday morning. Perfect weather. Jake spotted Elena immediately. Jeans and a sweater, hair down, looking 10 years younger. Lily saw Sophie and screamed, ran full speed into a hug. Already a success, Elena said. Lily got out of bed without threats. Sophie put on real clothes instead of pajamas. I'm calling it a miracle. They wandered, stopped at stalls. The girls got their faces painted as butterflies. They got cider and donuts, found a bench. Can I ask something? Elena's voice was careful. And you can tell me it's none of my business. Shoot. Sophie mentioned her mom died, but not how. Car accident. Drunk driver ran a red light. Claire died instantly. Jake kept his eyes on Sophie on the swings. Got the call around 7 p.m. Worst moment of my life. God, Jake. I'm so sorry. Divorce is painful too. Elena was quiet, then walked in on him with his secretary. In our bed. Classic right. Found out it had been going on 2 years. Filed the next day. He didn't even fight for custody. Her voice shook. Lily asked for weeks why Daddy didn't love her anymore. How do you explain to a 5-year-old that some people are cowards? You can't. Jake reached over, squeezed her hand. You just love them harder. Elena's fingers curled around his. Is it ever enough? Some days? They sat like that, hands clasped, watching their daughters play. 2 people who understood each other's scars. The weeks after fell into rhythm. Weekend outings, weeknight dinners, homework together while Jake and Elena cooked. Their lives braiding together so naturally, it terrified him. Jake found himself thinking about Elena at random moments. Her laugh at his bad jokes. How she ordered extra fries she claimed she didn't want, then ate half his plate. The fierce way she protected Lily. How gently she asked Sophie about her day. But he didn't make a move. Didn't say anything. Because what if he was wrong? What if he ruined this? What if Sophie got attached and he screwed it up and she lost another person? Elena seemed just as cautious. They danced around each other, careful not to touch too long, not to stand too close, until everything changed. Late November, almost Thanksgiving, midnight. Jake's phone rang. Elena voice shaking. Jake, I'm so sorry, but I don't know who else to call. My mom was supposed to watch Lily tomorrow. She fell and broke her hip. I have a huge case going to trial. I can't miss it. Every babysitter's booked. Bring her here. Already out of bed. Sophie's off school. They can hang out. I'll watch them. I can't ask. Elena, bring her. Not a problem. Relief flooded her voice. Thank you. God, thank you. 20 minutes. She arrived frazzled. Lily half asleep in her arms. Jake took the little girl surprised when she melted against him trusting. I owe you so much, Elena whispered. You don't owe me anything. Jake looked at her, really looked. This is what people do when they care. Elena's breath caught. Jake, you should sleep. Court in the morning. Coward. He couldn't say the rest. Not yet. She nodded, touched Lily's hair, left. 3 days of chaos. 2 girls. Constant noise. Jake closed the shop, something he never did. They made cookies, built forts, watched movies. Sophie pulled him aside day 3. Dad, are we Lily's family now? I don't know, Bug. Maybe something like it. Good, because I really like having a sister, even if it's pretend. When Elena came to pick up Lily, she looked exhausted, but victorious. We won. Settled on our terms. That's amazing. The girls were upstairs. Elena stepped inside, looking at the happy mess. Thank you for being there when I needed someone. Elena? Jake took a breath, decided to risk it. Stay for dinner. I should get Lily. They're happy. Stay, please. Something shifted. Okay, yes. Dinner was simple. Leftover soup. But it felt significant. 4 of them around his worn table. After while the girls watched TV, Elena helped clean up. I need to tell you something, they said at the same time. Laughed. You first, Jake offered. Elena set down her dish. I think I'm falling for you, and it terrifies me. Last time I trusted someone, he destroyed me. But you're different. You're kind, and you show up. You always show up. And I'm scared, but also hopeful, for the first time in 2 years. Jake's heart was thunder. I think I've been falling since the farmer's market. Maybe before. But I didn't know if I was allowed. If Claire would want, if it was okay to feel again. Is it okay? Whisper. Sophie told me Claire said if anything happened, I should find someone who makes me laugh. Jake stepped closer. You make me laugh, Elena. You make me feel alive. So what do we... His phone exploded with sound, vibrating across the counter. Jake grabbed it. Unknown number. He almost declined. Something made him answer. Is this Jake Morrison? A man's voice, cold, clipped. Yeah, who's this? Richard Hartwell, Elena's ex-husband. A pause. We need to talk. About you spending time with my daughter. Jake's blood went cold. Elena had gone white beside him. How did you get this number? Jake asked. That's not important. What's important is that I don't appreciate some random mechanic playing daddy to Lily. We have a custody agreement. I have rights. And I'm not about to let my daughter get attached to someone who'll disappear when he gets bored of her mother. Richard. Elena grabbed for the phone, but Jake held it away. With all due respect, Mr. Hartwell, Elena's life is none of your business anymore. My daughter is always my business. I'm calling my lawyer Monday. If you think you can just waltz into Lily's life, you're wrong. He hung up. Jake stood there, phone dead in his hand. Elena was shaking. He can't, he won't, she started. Does he have legal grounds? Jake asked quietly. I don't know, maybe. The custody agreement has a clause about introducing new partners to Lily. There's a 6-month waiting period. We're only at... Elena's face crumpled. We're only at 5 weeks. 5 weeks. They'd been dancing around each other for 5 weeks. And now, Elena's ex was threatening legal action. What do we do? Elena whispered. Jake looked at her. At this woman who'd cracked open his heart. at the life they'd started building, at Sophie and Lily giggling in the other room, already sisters in every way that mattered. "I don't know," he said honestly. And that's when Sophie appeared in the doorway, face serious, holding her phone. "Dad," she said quietly, "there's something you need to see, about Mr. Richard." She held out her phone. On the screen was a social media post. Richard Hartwell at a bar, arm around a young woman. Caption, "Finally free to live my best life." Posted 3 days ago. Jake looked at Elena. "Didn't you say he wanted more custody time?" Elena nodded slowly. "He filed a motion 2 weeks ago. Wants Lily every weekend instead of twice a month." "But he's out partying." Sophie's voice was hard. "What kind of dad does that?" The pieces clicked into place. Richard didn't want more time with Lily. He wanted control, wanted to hurt Elena, and Jake was just a convenient weapon. "We need to document everything," Elena said, lawyer brain kicking in. "Every interaction, every threat." Jake asked softly. Elena looked at him, fear and hope warring in her eyes. "If you want there to be a we, after this, after everything." Jake thought about running, about protecting himself and Sophie from this mess. Then he thought about Lily's whisper, about Elena's smile, about feeling alive again. "Yeah," he said. "I want there to be a we." Elena stepped forward, kissed him, quick and desperate and full of everything they hadn't said yet. When she pulled back, both girls were in the doorway watching with huge grins. "Finally," Sophie said. "I told you." Lily high-fived her. Elena laughed through tears. "Did you two plan this?" "Maybe," Lily said innocently. "Definitely," Sophie corrected. Jake pulled Elena close, resting his forehead against hers. "We'll figure this out. Promise. Promise." But even as he said it, his phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Another text. "Stay away from my family or you'll regret it." Jake deleted it. Didn't tell Elena. Not yet. Because sometimes love meant protecting people from the storms you saw coming. And Jake Morrison had a feeling this storm was just beginning. The text sat on Jake's phone like a live grenade. He slipped it into his pocket before anyone could see, but his hands were shaking. "Dad, you okay?" Sophie was staring at him. "Yeah, bug. Just tired." The lie tasted bitter. Elena was gathering up Lily, checking her phone for the 10th time in as many minutes. "I need to call my lawyer first thing Monday. Richard can't just..." She stopped looking at Jake. "I'm sorry. This is too much. You didn't sign up for this mess." "Neither did you," Jake said. "But we're in it now." "Are we?" Her voice was small, scared. Jake crossed to her, cupped her face in his hands. "Yeah, we are." They kissed again, softer this time. When they pulled apart, Lily was tugging on Elena's sleeve. "Mommy, I'm sleepy." "I know, baby. We're going home now." At the door, Lily hugged Jake tight. "Don't let Daddy scare you away, okay? You're nice. Daddy's not nice anymore." The words gutted him. 7 years old and already understanding that her father was using her as a weapon. "I'm not going anywhere, sweetheart," Jake promised. After they left, Sophie cornered him in the kitchen. "What was that text?" she asked. "What text? Dad, I saw your face. Who was it?" Jake sighed. His daughter was too smart for her own good. "Mr. Richard, just trying to scare me." And what? "Are you scared?" Jake looked at his 8-year-old daughter, this fierce little person who'd lost her mother and refused to lose her father too. Terrified, but not of him. "Then what?" "Of screwing this up. Of you getting hurt. Of Elena and Lily getting hurt because I couldn't stay away." He sat down at the table, suddenly exhausted. Maybe he's right. Maybe I should back off. Sophie's face went hard. "That's the dumbest thing you've ever said." "Sophie, no, Dad. You don't get to quit just because it's scary." Mom didn't quit when she got sick with me. She didn't quit when the pregnancy almost killed her. She fought. And you're just gonna what? Walk away because some jerk made a phone call? Jake stared. How do you know about your mom's pregnancy? Grandma told me, last year, when I asked why I don't have any brothers or sisters. Sophie's voice cracked. Mom wanted more kids, but she wanted me more. She chose me. And I think if she could see you right now, she'd be really disappointed that you're choosing fear over love. The words hit like a punch. Jake pulled Sophie into a hug, holding tight. When did you get so wise? He whispered. I've always been wise. You just never listen. Monday morning came too fast. Jake was under a Honda Civic when his phone rang. Elena. He did it, she said without preamble. Richard filed an emergency motion for full custody. Claims I'm exposing Lily to dangerous strangers. That you have a history of violence. Jake nearly dropped his wrench. What? It's complete fiction, but he's got photos of you and Lily together, screenshots of Sophie's social media posts about you guys hanging out. He's twisting everything to make it look like you're some predator I brought around my daughter after knowing you 5 minutes. Elena. My lawyer says we can fight it, but it'll take months. And until then, I'm not supposed to have you around Lily. The judge issued a temporary order. Her voice broke. Jake, I can't see you. Not until this is resolved. Not if I want to keep my daughter. The world tilted. What are you saying? I'm saying Richard wins, at least for now. No, we fight this. With what he's got money for the best lawyers. He's got time, and he's got nothing to lose. Elena was crying now. I have everything to lose. My daughter, my job, you. I can't risk Lily Jake. I can't. So that's it. We're done. Silence on the other end. Then quietly, I don't know. I just know I can't drag you through this. It's not fair. Fair? Jake's voice rose. You think any of this is fair? He cheated. He left. And now he gets to control your life because he can't stand seeing you happy. I know. But I can't fight him and keep you and protect Lily all at the same time. Something has to give. Jake leaned against the Honda oil dripping onto his shoes. Choose Lily. Always choose Lily. Jake? I'm serious. She needs her mom. We'll figure out the rest later. There might not be a later. Then we'll deal with that too. He closed his eyes. I'm not going anywhere, Elena. Even if I can't be there, I'm not going anywhere. She sobbed once, sharp and broken. I love you. I'm sorry. I love you. The line went dead before he could say it back. Jake stood there, phone and hand oil on his shoes, heart in pieces. Sophie found him 20 minutes later, still standing in the same spot. Dad. He looked at her, saw the fear in her eyes. Elena can't see me anymore. Her ex is taking her to court, trying to get full custody of Lily. Sophie's face crumpled. But that's not fair. I know, Bug. So what do we do? I don't know. Sophie grabbed his hand. We fight, Dad. That's what Mom would say. We fight. The next 2 weeks were hell. Jake threw himself into work, staying at the shop until midnight. Sophie went quiet, spending hours in her room. Elena texted once, twice, then stopped. The silence was worse than any argument. Jake started having nightmares again. The accident. Claire's car crushed under the truck. The phone call. The hospital. Except now in the dreams it wasn't Claire in the car. It was Elena. It was Sophie. It was Lily. He woke up screaming 3 nights in a row. Sophie heard him the 3rd time, came in without knocking. Another bad one? She asked. He nodded, not trusting his voice. She climbed into bed next to him like she used to when she was little. You're scared of losing her like you lost Mom. Yeah. But you're also scared of loving her at all. Yeah. That's dumb, Dad. Despite everything, Jake laughed. Probably. Definitely. Sophie snuggled closer. You can't control what happens. You couldn't control what happened to Mom. You can't control what Richard does. But you can control whether you fight or run away. When did you become the parent? Jake asked. The day Mom died, Sophie said simply. Someone had to. The words broke something in him. He held his daughter and cried, really cried for the second time since Claire's death. Week 3, Jake got a visitor at the shop, a man in an expensive suit too clean to be there for car trouble. Jake Morrison. The man extended a hand. I'm David Chen. I represent Richard Hartwell. Jake didn't take the hand. I've got nothing to say to you. I think you do. My client is willing to drop the custody motion. Jake's heart stopped. What's the catch? Simple. You disappear. No contact with Elena Hartwell or Lily Hartwell. Ever. My client is willing to be generous. $50,000 to walk away. More than enough to expand your shop, set up a college fund for your daughter. The rage came fast and hot. You think you can buy me? I think you're a reasonable man who understands that Elena Hartwell is out of your league. She's a corporate lawyer. You're a mechanic. She moves in circles you don't understand. Her daughter deserves better than a stepfather who... Jake took a step forward. The lawyer took a step back. Get out, Jake said quietly. Get out before I forget I'm a reasonable man. Mr. Morrison. Out. The lawyer left, dropping a business card on the counter. Jake picked it up, stared at it, then crumpled it and threw it across the shop. Sophie appeared from the office. Was that about Miss Elena? Yeah. What did he want? To pay me to leave her alone. What did you say? I told him to get lost. Jake looked at his daughter. I'm not leaving Elena, or Lily. I don't care what Richard does. Sophie grinned. Good, because I already called Grandma. She's coming tomorrow. Why? Because we need help, and Grandma's scary when she wants to be. Jake's mother arrived the next morning in her ancient Buick, all 5 feet 2 inches of pure Irish stubbornness. She took one look at Jake and frowned. You look terrible. Thanks, Ma. Don't ma me. Sophie called, told me everything. You're in love with a woman whose ex is trying to destroy her. That's the short version. And you're sitting here moping instead of fighting. She told me to stay away, for Lily's sake. His mother smacked him upside the head. Not hard, but enough. Ow. What was that for? For being an idiot. Your father, God rest him, fought for me when my parents said he wasn't good enough. Worked 3 jobs. Proved himself. You think love is easy. You think anything worth having is easy. This is different. It's not different. It's love. And love means showing up even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. She grabbed her purse. Where does this Elena live? Ma, no. Address. Now. Jake knew better than to argue with his mother when she got like this. 20 minutes later, they were standing on Elena's porch. His mother rang the doorbell before Jake could stop her. Elena answered, looking worse than Jake felt. No makeup, hair in a messy ponytail, sweatpants and an old t-shirt. When she saw Jake, her face crumpled. You shouldn't be here, she whispered. And you shouldn't be going through this alone, Jake's mother said. I'm Catherine Morrison, Jake's mother. Can we come in? Elena looked between them, then stepped aside. Inside, Lily was on the couch watching TV with dead eyes. She saw Jake and her whole face lit up. Mr. Jake? She ran to him. He caught her holding tight. Hey, sweetheart. Mommy said you couldn't come over anymore, but you're here. She pulled back, suspicious. Are you in trouble? No, baby, Elena said. Mr. Jake's not in trouble. Then why can't he come over? It's complicated. That's what grown-ups say when they're lying, Lily said matter-of-factly. Jake's mother laughed. Smart kid, I like her. She sat down on the couch, patting the space next to her. Lily, honey, come here. Let the adults talk. Lily went willingly, already chattering about her unicorn collection. Jake and Elena stood in the kitchen 3 feet apart that felt like miles. "You can't be here," Elena said again. "If Richard finds out—" "I don't care what Richard finds out. Jake, he'll use this. He'll twist it. He'll say I'm violating the court order. There is no court order about me, just a recommendation from your lawyer." Jake moved closer. "I talked to my own lawyer yesterday. Want to know what he said?" Elena shook her head, but he continued anyway. "He said Richard's motion is weak, built on nothing. But it's only weak if we fight it. If we roll over and hide it, looks like we're guilty of something. I can't risk it." "You're not risking anything. We are. Together." Jake took her hands. "I'm not some guy you've known 5 minutes. We've been in each other's lives for 2 months. Our daughters are best friends. We've built something real, and Richard knows it. That's why he's scared." "He's not scared. He's powerful. He's desperate. There's a difference." Jake pulled out his phone, showed her the screenshot Sophie had found. "This is your ex, out partying. Different woman every night, while claiming he wants more custody. Your lawyer can use this." Elena stared at the photos. "Where did you get these?" "Sophie, turns out 8-year-olds are terrifyingly good at social media stalking." Despite everything, Elena laughed. Then she was crying. Then Jake was holding her while she shook. "I'm so tired," she whispered against his chest. "I'm so tired of fighting alone." "Then stop fighting alone. Let me help. However you need me to." Catherine Morrison appeared in the doorway. "Lily wants to know if Mr. Jake can stay for dinner." Elena pulled back, wiping her eyes. "I don't think—" "Yes," Catherine interrupted. "He can stay. And so can I. And tomorrow we're all going to sit down with your lawyer and we're going to end this nonsense with Richard, because life's too short and love's too rare to let some small man ruin it." Elena looked at Jake. He shrugged. "You don't argue with Catherine Morrison. Trust me." "Is she always like this?" "Only when she's right," Catherine called from the other room. "Which is always—" Dinner was chaotic. Lily talked non-stop, thrilled to have Jake back. Catherine told embarrassing stories about Jake as a kid. Elena slowly relaxed, smiling more with each passing minute. After dinner, Lily pulled out her homework. Division. She was struggling. "Want help?" Jake offered. "Yes. Mommy tries, but she's bad at math." "Hey," Elena protested. "It's true, Mommy. You said numbers make your brain hurt." Jake sat with Lily, working through the problems, patient and gentle, explaining it 3 different ways until she got it. "You're good at this," Elena said quietly, watching them. "Sophie went through the same struggle in 3rd grade. I learned all the tricks." When the homework was done, Lily hugged Jake. "Thank you, Mr. Jake. You're the best." "Anytime, sweetheart." "Can you stay forever?" The question hung in the air. Jake looked at Elena. She looked back. "I'd like to," Jake said carefully. "If your mom says it's okay." "Mommy?" Lily turned to Elena with pleading eyes. "We'll see, baby. It's complicated." "You always say that." Lily's voice rose. "I don't want it to be complicated. I want Mr. Jake to be here, and Sophie to be my sister, and us to be a family. Why does Daddy get to ruin everything?" She burst into tears. Elena scooped her up, holding tight. "I know, baby. I know. I'm sorry. It's not fair. I know." Jake watched them, his heart breaking. Catherine touched his arm, shook her head. "Give them space." But then Lily was reaching for him, still crying. "Mr. Jake, don't leave. Please don't leave like Daddy did." That did it. Jake crossed to them, wrapping his arms around both. "I'm not leaving, I promise. Your dad might try to scare me away, but I'm tougher than I look." Lily giggled through her tears. "You are pretty tough. You fix cars with your hands." "Exactly, and I'm going to fix this too. Okay. She nodded against his shoulder. Later, after Lily was in bed and Catherine had tactfully taken herself home, Jake and Elena sat on the couch. Not touching. Just sitting. "I'm sorry," Elena said. "For what?" "For dragging you into this mess. For my ex being psychotic. For all of it." "You didn't drag me anywhere. I walked in with my eyes open." "Did you, though?" Elena turned to him. "Because this is my life, Jake. Court battles, custody fights, an ex-husband who won't let go. It doesn't end. Even if we win this round, there'll be another. And another. Is that really what you want?" "What I want," Jake said slowly, "is to come home after work and hear about Lily's day. To help her with math homework and teach her how to change a tire. To watch you be amazing at your job while also being an amazing mom. To kiss you goodnight and wake up next to you." He took her hand. "Yeah, Richard's part of that package. But so are you. And Lily. And the life we could build. And that's worth fighting for." Elena's eyes filled with tears. "You really mean that?" "Every word." She kissed him, slow and deep and full of promise. When they pulled apart, she said, "My lawyer. Tomorrow. We fight. Together." Together. Jake left around midnight, drove home with the windows down, letting the cold air clear his head. For the first time in weeks, he felt hope. But when he pulled into his driveway, hope died. Richard Hartwell was sitting on his porch steps. Jake got out of the truck slowly. "You're on my property." "Relax, I'm not here to cause trouble." Richard stood. In person, he was shorter than Jake expected, soft around the middle, expensive watch designer shoes, the kind of guy who'd never worked with his hands a day in his life. "Then why are you here?" "To talk, man to man." "We have nothing to talk about." "I think we do." Richard moved closer. "You seem like a decent guy, Jake. Hard worker, good dad. I respect that. But you're in over your head." "Am I?" "Elena's complicated, high maintenance. She'll drain you dry and then resent you for not having more to give. I know. I lived it for 8 years." Jake felt the rage building, but kept his voice level. "Funny. She says you cheated on her for 2 of those 8 years. Started sleeping with your secretary while she was pregnant with Lily." Richard's jaw tightened. "She told you that, among other things. Like how you didn't fight for custody. How you barely see Lily. How you're only doing this now to hurt Elena because she's finally moving on." "You don't know what you're talking about." "Don't I?" Jake stepped forward. "Here's what I know. You're a coward. You couldn't handle a real woman, so you traded her for someone younger who won't challenge you. Now you can't stand that Elena found someone who actually shows up. So you're using your daughter as a weapon. And that makes you not just a coward. It makes you a sorry excuse for a father." Richard's face went red. "You have no idea what kind of man I am." "Sure I do. You're the kind who threatens lawyers instead of spending time with his kid. The kind who'd rather win a court case than see his daughter happy. The kind who—" Richard shoved him. Hard. Jake stumbled back, caught himself. "Don't," Jake warned. "Don't do that. Or what you'll hit me. Please do. Give me something real to take to the judge." Jake's hands clenched into fists. Every instinct screamed to lay this guy out cold. But then he heard Sophie's voice in his head. "Mom would want you to fight smart, not stupid." Jake took a breath, unclenched his fists, pulled out his phone. "What are you doing?" Richard asked. "Calling the cops. You're trespassing. You assaulted me. And I'm done playing nice." Richard's eyes went wide. "Wait. Too late." Jake dialed. "Yes, hi. I need to report a trespassing and assault." Richard was in his car and gone before Jake finished the call. The operator asked if he wanted to file a report. Jake said yes. Paper trail. Evidence. Everything his lawyer told him to collect. Inside, Sophie was at the window. "I saw that." "Sorry, Bug. I tried to get him to leave." "You didn't hit him. She sounded impressed. Wanted to. But that's what he wanted too. Smart. Sophie hugged him. Mom would be proud. Jake held his daughter looking out at the empty street where Richard's car had been. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning. But for the first time, Jake felt like maybe, just maybe, they could win. His phone buzzed. Text from Elena. Richard just called. Screaming about you threatening him. What happened? Jake typed back. He showed up at my house. I called the cops. Have your lawyer contact me. I've got evidence. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally, I love you. Jake smiled. Typed, I love you too. See you tomorrow. We fight. We fight, she replied. Sophie read over his shoulder. You told her you love her. Yeah. Finally. She paused. Does this mean I can tell Lily we're gonna be sisters? Slow down, Bug. We've got a battle to win first. We're gonna win. Sophie's confidence was absolute. Because we're Morrisons, and Morrisons don't quit. Jake looked at his 8-year-old daughter and saw his late wife's strength looking back at him. No, he agreed. We don't. Morning came with 3 missed calls from Elena's lawyer. Jake called back before coffee, before anything. Mr. Morrison, I'm Patricia Vance, Elena's attorney. Her voice was sharp, efficient. I need you in my office in 2 hours. Can you make that? Yeah, what's going on? Richard filed an emergency motion last night. Claims you assaulted him at your residence. He's got photos of a bruise on his shoulder, and he's asking for a restraining order against you. Jake's blood went cold. That's a lie. He shoved me. I called the cops. I've got a police report. Excellent. Bring it. Bring everything. We're going to war, Mr. Morrison, and I need you armed. She paused. How serious are you about Elena? Serious enough to be having this conversation. Good, because this is going to get ugly before it gets better. Richard's not playing around anymore. 2 hours later, Jake sat in Patricia Vance's office with Elena beside him. Patricia was in her 50s, gray hair pulled back tight, eyes like a hawk. She spread papers across her desk like battle plans. Here's where we stand, she said. Richard's motion claims Jake is violent, unstable, and a danger to Lily. He's got the fake assault claim. He's also got screenshots of Jake at Elena's house last night, which technically violates the temporary custody recommendation. That was my mother, Jake protested. She insisted. Patricia held up a hand. I don't care about the truth right now. I care about what we can prove. The police report helps, a lot. But we need more. We need character witnesses. We need evidence that Richard's doing this for revenge, not concern for Lily. I've got evidence, Elena said quietly. She pulled out her phone. Text messages. From Richard. Over the past year. She handed the phone to Patricia, who scrolled through, her expression darkening. When you have time, read through those. He calls me every name you can imagine, threatens to take Lily, says I'm a terrible mother. Elena's voice shook. There's one from 3 months ago where he admits he barely sees Lily because his girlfriend doesn't like kids. Patricia looked up. You've had these the whole time. I was embarrassed, ashamed. I didn't think anyone would care. These are gold, Elena, pure gold. Patricia kept scrolling, stopped. Wait, this one, from last month. He says he's going to make you pay for ruining his reputation, that he knows people, that he'll destroy your career. He was drunk when he sent that. Doesn't matter. It establishes pattern and motive. Patricia looked at Jake. You said your daughter found photos of Richard partying. Yeah, I can send them. Do it. Now. We're building a case that Richard Hartwell is a vindictive narcissist using his daughter as leverage, not a concerned father worried about her welfare. Jake sent the photos while Patricia made notes. Elena sat silent, twisting her hands in her lap. Elena, Patricia said gently, look at me. Elena looked up. We're going to win this, but you need to be prepared. Richard's going to say terrible things about you. About Jake. He's going to try to paint you as an unfit mother who cares more about her boyfriend than her child. Can you handle that? I don't have a choice. You do. You can settle. Give Richard what he wants. More custody time, more control. Save yourself the fight. No. Elena's voice was steel. No. I won't let him win by intimidation. Lily deserves better than a father who uses her as a weapon. Patricia smiled. Good. That's the fire I need. She turned to Jake. And you. This is going to get personal. Richard's going to dig into your past. Your wife's death. Your finances. Your parenting. Everything. Can you handle it? Jake thought about Claire. About the accident. About the 3 years of barely surviving. Yeah, he said. I can handle it. Then let's get to work. They spent the next 3 hours going over everything. Timelines, witnesses, evidence. Patricia took notes faster than Jake could think. By the time they left, his head was spinning. In the parking lot, Elena leaned against her car, exhausted. This is insane, she said. How did my life become a legal drama? You married the wrong guy, Jake said. But you're fixing that now. She laughed, despite everything. Am I? Depends. You planning to marry the right guy this time? Elena looked at him. Really looked. Are you proposing? Not yet, but I'm thinking about it. That's either the sweetest or stupidest thing you've ever said. Can't it be both? Jake pulled her close. I love you, Elena. I love Lily. I know it's fast and crazy, and we're in the middle of a war, but I've never been more sure of anything. Even though this could blow up in our faces. Especially because of that. If I can love you through this, I can love you through anything. Elena kissed him, hard and desperate and full of everything they couldn't say. When they pulled apart, she said, Sophie was right. Morrisons don't quit. Neither do Hartwells, I'm guessing. Damn right we don't. They went to pick up the girls from Jake's mother's house. Catherine had kept them busy baking cookies, and the kitchen looked like a flower bomb had exploded. We made unicorn cookies, Lily announced, holding up a misshapen pink blob. Beautiful, Elena said, kissing the top of her head. Are you guys still sad? Sophie asked, reading the room instantly. A little, Jake admitted. But we're fighting, so that's good. Did you punch Mr. Richard? Lily asked hopefully. Lily? Elena gasped. What? He's mean. He deserves to be punched. We don't punch people, baby. Even when they're really mean. Even then. Lily looked disappointed. That's a dumb rule. Catherine laughed. I like this kid. She's got spirit. That night after Elena and Lily went home, Jake got a call from a number he didn't recognize. He almost didn't answer. Something made him pick up. Jake Morrison. A woman's voice. Young. Nervous. Yeah. Who's this? My name's Amber. I'm Richard Hartwell's girlfriend. She took a shaky breath. I need to talk to you about the custody case. Jake's pulse jumped. Okay. Not over the phone. Can you meet me tomorrow? There's a coffee shop on Main Street. I'll be there at noon. Why? Because Richard's lying. About everything. And I can prove it. She hung up before Jake could respond. He stared at his phone. This could be a trap. Richard could be setting him up, or this could be the break they needed. He called Patricia. She answered on the first ring. Richard's girlfriend wants to meet me. Says she's got proof he's lying. Patricia was quiet for a moment. Could be a setup. That's what I thought. But it could also be legitimate. These types of relationships, the girlfriend eventually sees who he really is. She might be having second thoughts. Should I go? Not alone. I'll meet you there. Stay visible, stay in public. And for God's sake, don't say anything that could be misconstrued. Got it. The next day, Jake walked into the coffee shop at 11:45. Patricia was already there, sitting at a corner table with a clear view of the door. She nodded when she saw him. Amber arrived at noon exactly. She was young, maybe 25. Pretty in an obvious way, but her eyes were puffy, like she'd been crying. She sat down across from Jake, not looking at Patricia. "Who's she?" Amber asked. "My lawyer," Jake said. "I don't want lawyers involved." "Too bad," Patricia said smoothly. "Whatever you tell him, you tell me. Those are the rules." Amber bit her lip. "Fine. Whatever." She pulled out her phone. "Richard doesn't know I'm here. He thinks I'm at work. If he finds out, he'll lose it." "What do you have?" Jake asked. Amber showed him her phone. Text messages, lots of them. Richard talking about Elena, calling her names Jake wouldn't repeat, planning his custody strategy, and then the bomb. "He doesn't even want Lily," Amber said. "He told me that. He said he's doing this to punish Elena, that if she just stayed under control, he wouldn't have to. He wants her to drop the new guy, quit her job, basically become his puppet again." "Why are you telling us this?" Patricia asked. "Because I'm not a monster." Amber's voice cracked. "I didn't sign up for this. I thought Richard was this successful, confident guy. But he's obsessed with his ex. Everything's about her. Our whole relationship is just him trying to make her jealous." She wiped her eyes. "And I'm tired of being used. Tired of watching him use his kid. It's gross." "Will you testify?" Patricia asked. "In court. On record." Amber went pale. "He'll destroy me." "He's destroying Elena right now, and using Lily to do it. You can stop that." Amber looked at Jake. "Do you really love her, Elena?" "Yeah, I do." "And you're good to Lily?" "I try to be. Richard says you're some deadbeat mechanic trying to gold dig." Jake almost laughed. "Elena makes 10 times what I make. I'm not in this for money." Amber studied him. Then she looked at Patricia. "What do I have to do?" Patricia pulled out a legal pad. "Start talking. I'll write it down. Then you'll sign it. And when the court date comes, you'll show up and tell the truth." "He's going to kill me." "He's going to be too busy dealing with his own problems to worry about you," Patricia said. "Trust me." Amber talked, for an hour, told them everything. The affairs Richard had during his marriage to Elena. The way he talked about Lily like she was an inconvenience. The night he got drunk and admitted he only filed for custody to hurt Elena. The times he canceled on Lily to go out with Amber instead. By the time she finished, Patricia had 6 pages of notes. "This is enough," Patricia said. "More than enough." "What happens now?" Amber asked. "Now you go home. Act normal. And when I call you for court, you show up. Can you do that?" Amber nodded, but she looked terrified. "Hey," Jake said gently. "Thank you for doing the right thing. That takes guts." "I just hope it's worth it," Amber said. After she left, Patricia looked at Jake with something like satisfaction. "We've got him." "You sure?" "I'm sure. Richard just handed us everything we need to bury him." She started packing her notes. "I'll file a motion to depose Amber officially. Get her testimony on record before she changes her mind. With this and the text messages Elena provided, Richard's case falls apart." "When's the court date?" 2 weeks, Judge Anderson. "She's fair but tough. Doesn't like games. Doesn't like liars. And she especially doesn't like parents who weaponize custody." Patricia smiled. Richard picked the wrong judge. Jake called Elena from the parking lot. "We got him," he said. "What?" "His girlfriend, Amber. She testified. Gave us everything. Texts, admissions, everything." Elena was silent for a long moment. Then she started crying. Not sad crying, relief crying. "It's over?" she asked. "Not yet, but we're close. Patricia says 2 weeks. Then we go to court and end this." "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll have dinner with me tonight. You, me, and the girls. Let's celebrate early." Elena laughed through tears. "Okay, yes. My place." "Your place." That evening felt different, lighter. The four of them around Elena's table eating pizza, the girls chattering about school. Jake kept catching Elena's eye across the table, and every time she smiled. After dinner, while the girls played upstairs, Jake and Elena sat on the couch. 2 weeks, Elena said. Then what? Then we live our lives, without Richard hanging over us. You make it sound simple. Isn't it? Nothing about us is simple, Jake. Maybe that's okay. He took her hand. I don't need simple, I need real. And this us, it's the most real thing I've felt in 3 years. Elena leaned her head on his shoulder. I'm scared. Of what? Of this working out, of getting everything I want, of being happy again. She looked up at him. Sounds stupid, right? No, it sounds human. Jake kissed her forehead. But you don't get to be scared alone anymore. We're in this together. Together, she repeated. I like the sound of that. Upstairs, something crashed. Both girls screamed with laughter. I should check on that, Elena said, not moving. Probably. Neither of them moved. The peace lasted exactly 3 days. Jake was at the shop when Richard showed up again. This time, he wasn't alone. He had 2 guys with him, big guys, the kind you hire when you want to intimidate someone. We need to talk, Richard said. Jake looked at the 2 goons. I'm calling the cops. No, you're not, Richard smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Because if you do, I'll make sure those cute photos of Lily at your house end up everywhere. Social media, newspapers. I'll make you look like a predator, destroy your reputation, your business, everything. You're bluffing. Try me. Richard stepped closer. The goons flanked him. Here's how this is going to work. You're going to disappear. Tell Elena it's not working out. Tell her whatever you want, but you're gone. And if you don't, I will make your life a living hell. And if I still say no, Richard's smile widened. Then I go after Sophie. Jake's blood turned to ice. What? Your daughter, sweet kid. Be a shame if CPS got an anonymous call about an unfit father. Maybe some photos of her hanging around your shop unsupervised, working with dangerous tools. You know how these things go. They investigate, they ask questions. Sophie ends up in foster care while they sort it out. The rage came fast and blinding. Jake moved before he could think, grabbing Richard by the collar, slamming him against the wall. The goons moved in, but Jake didn't care. You go near my daughter. I will end you, Jake snarled. You understand me? I will end you. That's assault, Richard gasped. You're assaulting me. One of the goons pulled Jake off, shoved him back. Jake stumbled, caught himself on a workbench. You're done, Morrison, Richard said, straightening his shirt. Done. I'll see you in court, and I'll make sure you never see Elena or Lily again. And when I'm finished with you, I'll make sure Sophie knows her father threw away her future for some woman he barely knows. They left. Jake stood there shaking with rage and fear. He'd just assaulted Richard, in front of witnesses, played right into his hands. He called Patricia. She answered on the second ring. I screwed up, Jake said. He told her everything. Patricia was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was careful. Did Richard threaten Sophie first? Yeah, said he'd call CPS, get her taken away. And you only reacted after that threat? Yeah. Were there security cameras? Jake looked around. Yeah, I've got one pointed at the bay door. It would have caught everything. Send me that footage. Now. And don't delete anything. Don't touch anything. Just send it. Jake sent the file, hands still shaking. Patricia called back 5 minutes later. Jake, listen to me. This is good. How is this good? I assaulted him. No. You defended your child against a credible threat. Richard threatened to falsely report you to CPS with the intent of having your daughter removed. That's illegal. And you've got it on video. With witnesses. He's got witnesses too. Those 2 guys, who I guarantee will disappear the moment we subpoena them. Richard's not dumb enough to use professionals for this. He probably hired some guys off Craigslist. Patricia's voice was sharp with something like satisfaction. He just made the worst mistake of his life. He threatened your child, in front of a camera, while trying to extort you. So what do? We file a motion. First thing tomorrow, we request an emergency hearing, and we bury him. Jake sank onto his workbench. You're sure? I'm sure. Richard just handed us the case. All we have to do is present it. After Patricia hung up, Jake sat in the quiet shop trying to slow his racing heart. His phone rang. Elena. Jake? I just got the weirdest call from Richard's lawyer. Something about you assaulting Richard. What's going on? Jake told her. Everything. The threats, the goons, the confrontation. Elena was silent for a long moment. He threatened Sophie, she said finally. Her voice was cold, furious. He threatened your child. Yeah. I'm going to destroy him. Elena? No, I'm done. Done being scared. Done letting him control my life. Done protecting his reputation. She took a breath. I'm calling everyone I know. Every lawyer, every judge, every person Richard screwed over in business. I'm building a case that will end his career. You don't have to. Yes, I do, because he went after Sophie, and that means he went after us, and I protect what's mine. The words hit Jake hard. What's mine? I love you, he said. I love you too. Now let me go make some calls. We've got a war to win. She hung up. Jake sat there, phone in hand, and for the first time since this whole thing started, he felt like they might actually win. But then his phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Last chance. Walk away, or I destroy everyone you love. Jake stared at the text. Then he did something he'd never done before. He forwarded it to Patricia, to Elena, and to the police. Come at me, he typed back. Let's see who destroys who. He hit send. 2 seconds later, his phone rang. Richard. Jake answered. You just made the biggest mistake of your life, Richard said. No, Jake said calmly. You did, when you threatened my daughter. He hung up. Across town, Elena was making calls, gathering allies, building her case. In 2 weeks, they'd face Richard in court, and Jake was going to make damn sure they won. The 2 weeks before court felt like living in a pressure cooker. Every day brought something new. Richard filed counter motions, tried to get the security footage dismissed, claimed Jake had edited it. Patricia shot down every attempt with surgical precision. Jake barely slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Richard's face, heard the threat against Sophie. He started keeping Sophie home from school, too paranoid to let her out of his sight. Dad, I'm fine, Sophie protested on day 3. You can't keep me locked up forever. Watch me. This is ridiculous. Mr. Richard's not gonna do anything. He's just a bully. Bullies are dangerous when they're cornered, Jake said. Sophie crossed her arms. So what, I just stop living my life because he's scared? Until this is over, yes. That's not fair. Life's not fair, Sophie, but it's my job to keep you safe, and that's what I'm doing. She stomped off to her room. Jake heard the door slam and winced. He was screwing this up, letting Richard get in his head. But what else could he do, Elena called that night. Lily's asking why she can't see Sophie anymore, she said. What do I tell her? Tell her we're being careful. Jake, we can't let Richard win by making us live in fear. He threatened Sophie. Elena, threatened to have her taken away. You want me to just ignore that? No, but I also don't want him to destroy what we've built. The girls need each other. We need each other. Her voice softened. I miss you. It's been 3 days, and I miss you. Jake leaned against the counter, closing his eyes. I miss you too. Then come over. Bring Sophie. Let's have dinner like normal people. Normal people don't have psychotic exes threatening legal action. No, but they also don't let psychotic exes control their lives. Elena paused. Patricia says the case is solid. We're going to win. You believe that, right? Did he? Jake wanted to. But fear was a powerful thing. Yeah, he lied. I believe it. Liar. But I love you anyway. She sighed. 30 minutes. My place. I'm making spaghetti. Don't make me eat alone. Elena. 30 minutes, Jake, or I'm coming to get you. She hung up. Jake looked at Sophie's closed bedroom door. Knocked. Go away, Sophie called. We're going to Elena's for dinner. The door flew open. Really? Really. But we're being careful. No posting on social media. No telling anyone where we're going. Sophie rolled her eyes. I'm 8, not stupid. Could have fooled me, Jake muttered. She stuck her tongue out at him, but she was smiling, and that made the risk worth it. At Elena's, Lily launched herself at Sophie the moment they walked in. The two girls disappeared upstairs in a flurry of giggles. Jake found Elena in the kitchen stirring sauce and trying not to cry. Hey, he said softly. She turned. Hey yourself. He pulled her into his arms. She melted against him, shaking. I'm so tired, she whispered. Tired of fighting. Tired of being strong. Tired of pretending this isn't killing me. I know. Do you? Because sometimes I look at you and you're so calm and I wonder if you're even scared. Jake laughed, but there was no humor in it. I'm terrified. Every second of every day. But if I let you see that, then we're both drowning. So I pretend. For you. For the girls. For me. Elena pulled back, looking up at him. We're a mess. Yeah. But we're a mess together. Yeah. She kissed him. It started gentle, but turned desperate fast. They broke apart when they heard footsteps on the stairs. Ew, kissing, Lily announced. Gross. Sophie agreed, but she was grinning. Dinner was chaotic and loud, and exactly what Jake needed. The girls talked over each other, debating whether unicorns or dragons were cooler. Elena argued for dragons. Jake stayed neutral. Smart man. After dinner, while the girls watched a movie, Elena and Jake went over the court strategy one more time. Patricia says Richard's lawyers are scrambling, Elena said. Amber's testimony is ironclad. The security footage is damning, and the text messages I provided show pattern of abuse and manipulation. So we're good. We should be. But Richard's unpredictable. He might try something. Like what? I don't know, but he's desperate. Desperate people do stupid things. She wasn't wrong. The next morning, Jake woke up to 6 missed calls from Patricia. He called back, heart pounding. Richard filed a motion claiming you and Elena are cohabitating, Patricia said without preamble. Says it's proof Elena's putting her relationship before Lily's welfare. We're not living together. I know that. You know that. But Richard's got photos of your truck at her house late at night. Photos of you leaving in the morning. I was having dinner. I left at 10 p.m. The photos are time-stamped at 6 a.m. Jake's blood ran cold. That's impossible. I was home by 11. I can prove it. How? Security system. I've got cameras at my house. They show me pulling in at 10:53 p.m. Send me that footage. Now. And Jake. We need to be more careful. No more late-night visits. No more dinners. Not until after court. You want us to just stop seeing each other. I want you to win this case. And that means not giving Richard any ammunition. Patricia's voice softened. I know it's hard, but it's 6 more days. You can handle 6 days. 6 days felt like 6 years. Jake threw himself into work. Stayed at the shop until midnight. Avoided Elena's calls because hearing her voice made it worse. Sophie noticed, of course. You're doing it again, she said. Doing what? Running away. Shutting down. just like after Mom died. The words hit like a slap. I'm not. Yes, you are. You're scared, so you're pushing everyone away. It's what you do. Sophie's voice cracked. But Elena's not Mom. She's not going to die. She's just on the other side of town waiting for you to stop being an idiot. Sophie, call her Dad, please, before you ruin this. Jake called. Elena answered on the first ring. I thought you were ghosting me, she said. Never, just trying to protect the case. Screw the case. I need you. 6 more days, Jake said. Then this is over and we can live our lives. Promise. Promise. But promises were fragile things. 3 days before court, Richard made his final play. Jake got a call from Sophie's school. She'd been in a fight. He drove there doing 20 over the limit, mind racing through worst-case scenarios. In the principal's office, Sophie sat with her arms crossed, a bruise forming on her cheek. Across from her sat a boy twice her size, looking smug. What happened? Jake demanded. The principal, Mrs. Chen, looked uncomfortable. There was an altercation on the playground. Sophie struck Tommy unprovoked. That's a lie. Sophie jumped up. He said you were a deadbeat who was trying to steal some rich lady's money. Jake's vision went red. He looked at Tommy. Where'd you hear that? Tommy shrugged. My dad. He knows Mr. Hartwell. Says Mr. Hartwell's going to destroy you in court. And there it was. Richard using a kid to get to Sophie. To provoke exactly this reaction. Sophie didn't start this, Jake said carefully. She was defending me. Nevertheless, we have a zero-tolerance policy for violence, Mrs. Chen said. Sophie's suspended for 3 days. You're suspending the victim. I'm suspending the student who threw the first punch. Those are the rules, Mr. Morrison. Jake wanted to argue, wanted to fight. But Sophie was watching him, waiting to see what he'd do. Come on, Bug, he said quietly. Let's go home. In the truck, Sophie was silent. Jake drove for 5 minutes before pulling over. You okay? He asked. He called you a deadbeat. Sophie's voice was small. Said you were just using Miss Elena for money. Said terrible things about her too. I couldn't just let him. So you hit him. So I hit him. Jake should have been angry, should have lectured her about violence. Instead, he started laughing. What's so funny? Sophie demanded. You, defending my honor. Pretty sure that's supposed to be my job. Maybe I'm better at it than you are. Jake pulled her into a hug. Maybe you are, Bug. Maybe you are. That night, Elena called. She'd heard about the fight. Is Sophie okay? She's fine. Suspended, but fine. Richard put that kid up to it. I know he did. Probably. But we can't prove it. I'm so sick of this Jake. Sick of him manipulating and scheming and using everyone around him. Elena's voice broke. When does it end? 3 days. It ends in 3 days. What if we lose? We won't. But what if we do? What if the judge believes him? What if... Elena, listen to me. We're not going to lose. We have evidence. We have witnesses. We have the truth. And the truth wins. It has to. Since when are you the optimistic one? Since I realized I have too much to lose to be anything else. Elena was quiet. Then, I love you, Jake Morrison. I love you too. 3 more days. 3 more days. Court day arrived with gray skies and a knot in Jake's gut. He put on his only suit, a black thing he'd bought for Claire's funeral and hadn't worn since. Sophie helped him with his tie. You look good, Dad, she said. I look terrified. Same thing. His mother arrived to watch Sophie. You go win this thing, Catherine said. And when you do, you marry that woman. You hear me? One thing at a time, Ma. Life's short, Jake. Don't waste it being cautious. At the courthouse, Patricia met him outside. She was in full battle mode, sharp suit, sharper eyes. Ready? She asked. No. Good. Means you're taking this seriously. She handed him a folder. Today's strategy: let Richard hang himself. Don't engage, don't react, just tell the truth. Amber's testifying first, then you, then Elena. By the time we're done, Richard's case will be in pieces. Inside the courtroom was smaller than Jake expected. Elena was already there with her own lawyer. Richard sat across the aisle with his legal team, 3 lawyers in expensive suits. He looked smug, confident. That was about to change. Judge Anderson entered. She was in her 60s, gray hair, no-nonsense expression. Everyone stood. "Be seated," she said. "We're here for the matter of Hartwell v. Hartwell custody modification. Mr. Hartwell, you filed this motion. You may begin." Richard's lead attorney stood. Tall, silver-haired, the kind of lawyer who charged $1,000 an hour. "Your Honor, my client is seeking full custody of his daughter Lily Hartwell due to concerns about the mother's judgment and lifestyle choices." For the next hour, they painted Elena as a negligent mother who prioritized her career and boyfriend over her daughter. They showed the photos of Jake's truck, quoted the custody agreement about introducing new partners, made it sound sordid and irresponsible. Elena sat stone-faced through it all. Jake wanted to reach for her hand, but they were separated by the aisle. When Richard's lawyer finished, Patricia stood. "Your Honor, if I may, the respondent would like to present evidence that Mr. Hartwell's motion is not based on concern for his daughter, but rather on revenge and manipulation." "Proceed," Judge Anderson said. Patricia called Amber to the stand. Richard's face went white. He leaned over to his lawyer, whispering frantically. The lawyer looked surprised, then angry. Amber walked to the stand, shaking but determined. She was sworn in. "Ms. Collins, can you describe your relationship with Richard Hartwell?" Patricia asked. "I'm his girlfriend, have been for 8 months." "And in those 8 months, how often has Mr. Hartwell seen his daughter Lily?" Amber hesitated. "Maybe 6 times total." 6 times in 8 months. That's less than once a month. "He says he's busy, that Elena makes it hard." "But you know that's not true, don't you?" Amber looked at Richard. He was glaring at her, jaw clenched. "Ms. Collins," Patricia prompted. "He cancels on Lily all the time, says she's boring, that kids aren't his thing." Amber's voice strengthened. "He told me he only filed for custody to hurt Elena, that he doesn't actually want Lily more. He just wants control." The courtroom erupted. Judge Anderson banged her gavel. "Order, Ms. Collins, that's a serious allegation." "I have proof," Amber said. She pulled out her phone. "Text messages, recordings, everything." Patricia submitted the evidence. Richard's lawyer objected. The judge overruled. For the next 30 minutes, Amber detailed everything. The affairs, the manipulation, the threats. By the time she finished, Richard looked like he wanted to crawl under the table. "Thank you, Ms. Collins," Patricia said. "No further questions." Richard's lawyer stood for cross-examination. "Ms. Collins, isn't it true you're testifying because Ms. Hartwell paid you?" "No one paid me anything." "Then why betray your boyfriend?" "Because I'm not going to help him destroy a good person for no reason. Elena did nothing wrong except find someone who actually loves her." Amber looked at Richard. "And I'm done being used." She stepped down. Richard tried to catch her arm as she passed. She jerked away, walking out without looking back. Next, Patricia called Jake. He took the stand, hands sweating. Patricia smiled at him reassuringly. "Mr. Morrison, how did you meet Elena Hartwell?" "Her car broke down. I fixed it. Met her daughter Lily." "And your relationship developed from there?" "Yeah, we became friends. Then more." "At any point did you move too fast? Put Lily at risk?" "No. We were careful, slow, made sure the girls were comfortable every step." "And when Mr. Hartwell threatened you, what did you do?" "I documented everything, called the police, followed legal advice." "Did you ever assault Mr. Hartwell?" "He assaulted me first, then threatened my daughter. I defended myself." Patricia played the security footage. The whole courtroom watched Richard and his goons threatening Sophie. Watched Richard shove Jake first. Watched Jake only react after the threat to his child. When it ended, Judge Anderson looked at Richard with disgust. "Mr. Hartwell, did you threaten Mr. Morrison's daughter?" she asked. Richard's lawyer jumped up. "Your Honor, that footage is—" "Answer the question, Mr. Hartwell," the judge said. Richard stood. "I was trying to protect my daughter from a stranger. By threatening another child, by hiring men to intimidate him. I was desperate. Elena was making poor choices. Save it." Judge Anderson looked at Patricia. "Anything else?" "Just one more witness, Your Honor. Elena Hartwell." Elena took the stand. She was calm, poised, every inch the lawyer she was. Patricia walked her through everything. The marriage, the affairs, the divorce, the custody agreement, the harassment since. "Ms. Hartwell, do you love your daughter?" Patricia asked. "More than anything." "And do you love Jake Morrison?" "Yes." "Are you choosing him over Lily?" "Never. I'm choosing a life where Lily sees her mother happy, where she learns that love is kind and patient and real, not manipulative and controlling." Elena looked at Richard. "I'm choosing to show my daughter what a healthy relationship looks like, because I never want her to settle for less." Richard's lawyer had no questions. Finally, Judge Anderson spoke. "I've heard enough. Mr. Hartwell, your motion for custody modification is denied. Furthermore, I'm ordering a review of the current custody arrangement. Based on the evidence presented, I have concerns about your fitness as a parent." Richard shot to his feet. "You can't—" "Sit down, Mr. Hartwell. I can and I am. You've used your daughter as a weapon. You've harassed, threatened, and manipulated. You've shown no genuine interest in Lily's welfare, only in controlling your ex-wife." Judge Anderson's voice was ice. "Custody remains with Ms. Hartwell. You'll continue your current visitation schedule supervised by a court-appointed monitor until further review. Do you understand?" Richard looked like he'd been punched. "Your Honor, please. We're done here. Court adjourned." The gavel fell. Elena burst into tears. Jake wanted to go to her, but wasn't sure if he could. Patricia nodded permission. He crossed the aisle, pulled Elena into his arms. She sobbed against his chest while the courtroom emptied around them. "It's over," he whispered. "It's finally over." "We won," Elena said through tears. "We actually won." "Told you we would." She pulled back, hitting his chest. "You did not. You were just as scared as me." Terrified. But we did it anyway. Outside, Richard was waiting. His lawyers were gone. Amber was gone. He stood alone on the courthouse steps. "This isn't over," he said. "Yeah," Jake said. "It is. You think you've won? You've ruined my life." "No," Elena said quietly. "You did that yourself. Lily will hate you for this. When she's older, she'll understand her mother protected her from a man who used her as a pawn." Elena's voice was steady, strong. "Goodbye, Richard." They walked past him, got in Elena's car, drove away. Richard stood there watching them go, looking smaller than Jake had ever seen him. "Think he'll give up?" Elena asked. "Eventually. He's got no cards left to play." "Good." Elena reached over, took Jake's hand. "Take me home. Your place or mine? Ours," she said. "Let's go get the girls and figure out what ours looks like." Jake smiled. "Yeah, let's do that." They drove through the city, hands clasped, the weight of the past months finally lifting. They'd fought, they'd won, and now they got to build the life they'd been fighting for, together. They picked up the girls at Catherine's house. The moment Jake and Elena walked through the door together, Sophie knew. "You won." She launched herself at Jake, nearly knocking him over. "I knew you'd win." Lily was more cautious, looking at her mother. "Is Daddy mad?" Elena knelt down, pulling her daughter close. Daddy's upset, but you don't have to worry about that. You're staying with me. With us. Forever. Forever. Lily's face crumpled, and she started crying. Not sad crying, relief crying. I was so scared. I thought the judge would make me go live with Daddy and Amber, and I'd never see you or Mr. Jake or Sophie again. Never, Elena whispered fiercely. That's never going to happen. Sophie joined the hug, then Jake, then Catherine, not one to be left out. They stood in the living room, 5 people who'd become a family in the space of 3 months, holding each other like they'd never let go. So what now? Catherine asked when they finally broke apart. Jake looked at Elena. Elena looked back. Now we live, she said simply. But living, they quickly discovered, was harder than fighting. When you had a common enemy, you knew what to do. When the enemy was gone, you had to figure out what came next. The first week was bliss. Dinners every night. Movie marathons on the weekend. The girls were inseparable. Jake and Elena couldn't keep their hands off each other. Everything felt possible. Week 2, reality hit. I can't just move in with you, Elena said. They were having the conversation at midnight, both exhausted, both trying not to fight. I have a career, a house. Lily's school is 10 minutes from here, 40 minutes from your place. So I'll move in with you, Jake offered. Where would you put your shop? Your clients are all in your neighborhood. You can't just abandon them. So we keep 2 houses, go back and forth. The girls need stability, Jake, not chaos. This isn't chaos. This is us trying to build a life. By running between 2 houses every other day. Elena rubbed her temples. I don't know how to make this work. Neither did Jake. They'd fought so hard to be together. Now that they could be, the logistics felt impossible. Sophie noticed the tension. Of course she did. You guys are fighting, she said at breakfast. We're not fighting, Jake said. We're discussing. You're fighting. I can tell. You get that line between your eyebrows when you're stressed. Sophie looked between them. Is it because of houses? Because I heard you and Miss Elena talking last night. You're supposed to be asleep at midnight. Hard to sleep when you're arguing right below my room. Sophie crossed her arms. For 2 smart adults, you're being really dumb about this. Sophie. Just pick one house and live there. Who cares about commutes or shops or whatever? We're supposed to be a family now. Families live together. End of story. She stomped off. Jake looked at Elena. She's not wrong, Elena said quietly. I know. My house is bigger, has more rooms, better schools nearby. Your house is you. My shop is me. How do I give that up? I'm not asking you to give it up. I'm asking you to adapt it. Jake thought about the shop. His father had built it. He'd rebuilt it after Claire died. It was more than a business. It was his anchor. But Elena was right. Families required sacrifice, compromise. What if, he said slowly, I keep the shop but hire someone to manage the day-to-day. I could still do the work I love, but not be chained there 14 hours a day. Elena's eyes lit up. You'd do that. For you. For this, yeah, I would. She kissed him, hard and desperate and grateful. I'll cut back at the firm, she said when they broke apart. Go down to 4 days a week instead of 6. Spend more time with Lily, with Sophie, with you. You'd do that. For you? For this? Yeah, I would. They laughed, foreheads pressed together, the weight lifting. We're really doing this, Jake said. We're really doing this. 2 months later, Jake Morrison moved into Elena Hartwell's house, with 1 truck full of belongings and a daughter who wouldn't stop grinning. His shop had a new manager, a former student from the vocational school who was hungry and talented. Jake still went in 4 days a week, but now he left at 5 instead of midnight. Elena had cut back her hours and stopped taking her laptop to bed. She was home for dinner, home for bedtime stories, home in a way she hadn't been since before the divorce. The girls adjusted faster than the adults. Within a week, they'd established a routine. Homework at the kitchen table. Dinner at 6. Movie nights on Fridays. Sunday mornings were for pancakes and chaos. "It's like we've always been this way," Lily said one night. "Feels like it," Sophie agreed. But Jake and Elena still tiptoed around each other in small ways, figuring out bathroom schedules, whose turn it was to do laundry, how to discipline kids that weren't biologically yours, the small intimacies of shared life that nobody warned you about. 3 months in, they had their first real fight. It started with something stupid. Jake forgot to pick up Lily from dance class. He'd been at the shop lost in an engine rebuild and completely forgot. Elena had to leave work early, missing an important client meeting. "I trusted you," she said when he got home. Her voice was quiet, dangerous. "I'm sorry, I lost track of time." "You lost track of our daughter." She sat there for an hour, Jake. An hour. Thinking we'd forgotten her. "She's not my daughter," Jake said before he could stop himself. The words hung in the air like poison. Elena went very still. "What did you say?" "I didn't mean." "No. You said it. She's not your daughter, so what, you don't have to be responsible for her?" "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean?" Elena's voice was rising now. "Because it sounds like you're saying Lily doesn't matter as much as Sophie. That this family you claimed you wanted is conditional." "I just meant I'm still learning I'm not her father, Elena. I'm trying, but I'm going to screw up sometimes. We all screw up. But we don't abandon our kids at dance studios for an hour because we lost track of time." She was crying now. "Richard used to do this. Promise he'd be there, and then just not show up. And Lily would wait, and I'd have to explain why Daddy didn't love her enough to remember. I won't do that again. I won't." The comparison to Richard hit like a knife. Jake felt his own anger rising. "I am nothing like him," he said coldly. "Nothing. And if you can't see that, then maybe this was a mistake," Elena shouted. Silence. They stared at each other, both breathing hard, both realizing they'd crossed a line. From the stairs, a small voice. "Please don't break up." They turned. Lily and Sophie stood there in their pajamas, holding hands, both crying. "We're not breaking up," Elena said quickly. "You just said it was a mistake," Lily sobbed. "You said Mr. Jake was a mistake." "No, baby, I didn't mean." "Yes, you did. Grown-ups always say they don't mean it, but they do." Lily ran upstairs. Sophie followed. Jake and Elena stood in the kitchen, the wreckage of their fight between them. "I didn't mean it," Elena whispered. "I know." "I was scared. When Lily called crying, I went back to that place where it was me against the world, where I couldn't trust anyone." "I get it." Jake's anger was draining away, leaving only guilt. "And I should have set an alarm. Should have been more responsible. You're right. When I said yes to this family, I said yes to all of it, including Lily, especially Lily." Elena crossed to him. "I'm sorry for comparing you to Richard. That wasn't fair. I'm sorry for forgetting Lily, for making you doubt me." They held each other, both shaking. "We're going to screw this up sometimes," Elena said. "Yeah, but we can't give up the first time it gets hard." "No, we can't." They went upstairs together, found both girls in Lily's room curled up on the bed. "We're sorry," Jake said. "Both of us. For fighting. For scaring you." "Are you breaking up?" Sophie's voice was small. "No," Elena said firmly. "We're learning how to be a family. And sometimes that means we fight. But fighting doesn't mean we stop loving each other." "Promise?" Lily asked. "Promise," Jake said. He sat on the bed, pulled both girls close. "I'm sorry I forgot to pick you up today, Lily. That was wrong. And I promise I'll do better." "You're not my real dad," Lily said quietly. "I know that. But sometimes I pretend you are. Is that okay?" Jake's throat went tight. "Yeah, sweetheart. That's more than okay." Good. Because real dads don't forget. And I need you to not forget. Because I really, really like having a dad again. Jake looked at Elena over the girls' heads. She was crying. So was he. I won't forget again, he promised. After that night, things shifted. They stopped trying to be perfect and started being real. They fought sometimes, made up, figured out their rhythm. 6 months after moving in, Jake woke up one Saturday and realized he was happy. Not surviving, not getting through, actually happy. He found Elena in the kitchen making pancakes while the girls set the table. "Morning," she said, kissing him. "Morning." He poured coffee, watched his family move around each other like a well-choreographed dance. "I love you." "I know." She smiled. "I love you too." "No, I mean, I love you. This life. These kids. All of it. And I want to make it official." Elena turned off the stove. Official how? Jake hadn't planned this. Didn't have a ring, didn't have a speech. But suddenly he knew it was right. "Marry me." The girls gasped. Elena froze. "What?" she whispered. "Marry me, Elena. Let's stop pretending this is temporary or trial or whatever we've been calling it. Let's just be a family, legally, officially, permanently." "Dad, you're supposed to get on your knee," Sophie hissed. "Oh, right." Jake dropped to one knee in the middle of the kitchen. "Elena Hartwell, will you marry me?" Lily started bouncing. "Say yes, Mommy. Say yes, say yes, say yes." Elena laughed through tears. "You don't have a ring." "I'll get you one. I'll get you 10. Just say yes." "This is crazy. We've only been living together 6 months. We've been building this for almost a year, and I've never been more sure of anything." Elena looked at the girls, at Jake, at the life they'd built from broken pieces. "Yes," she said. "Yes, I'll marry you." Sophie and Lily screamed. Jake stood, swept Elena into his arms, kissed her while their daughters cheered. "We're getting married," Lily shouted, running in circles. "We're gonna be real sisters." Sophie grabbed Lily's hands and they spun around the kitchen. Later, after the chaos settled and the girls were occupied with planning the wedding, they definitely weren't in charge of Jake, and Elena sat on the back porch. "You really want this?" Elena asked. "The chaos, the complications, the ex-husband who'll probably object, all of it. I want you. Everything else is just details." "Those are some big details. We've handled bigger." Jake took her hand. "Besides, I'm good at fixing things. Broken cars, broken hearts. This'll be easy in comparison." Elena laughed. "Nothing about us is easy." "True, but it's worth it." They planned the wedding for 3 months out. Small ceremony, close friends and family, nothing fancy, just real. The day before the wedding, Jake's mother pulled him aside. "Your father would be proud," Catherine said, "of the man you've become, of the family you've built." "I wish he was here." "He is, and so is Claire. They're both here watching you be happy again." Catherine touched his face. "It's okay to move on, Jake. It doesn't mean you loved her less. It means you loved her enough to keep living." Jake hugged his mother, letting himself cry for everything he'd lost and everything he'd found. The wedding day arrived with perfect weather. They'd chosen to get married at the park where they'd had their first real family day, the farmer's market, where everything had started to feel possible. Jake stood at the makeshift altar, hands shaking. Sophie was beside him, his best woman, looking grown up in her dress. "You okay, Dad?" she whispered. "Terrified." "Good. Means you care." The music started. Lily came down the aisle, first flower girl basket in hand, taking her job very seriously. Then Elena appeared. She wasn't in a traditional wedding dress, just a simple cream dress and her hair down. But she was the most beautiful thing Jake had ever seen. She walked toward him, no father to give her away. She didn't need one. She was choosing this herself. When she reached him, she whispered, "Still time to run." Not a chance. The ceremony was simple. Traditional vows with a few personal additions. When it came time for the rings, Lily stepped forward. "Wait," she said. "I have something to say first." Elena looked at the officiant, who shrugged. "Go ahead, honey." Lily turned to Jake, pulled out a piece of paper. "Mr. Jake, a year ago I told you to marry my mom. And you did. You actually did it." She grinned. "I'm really good at planning." Everyone laughed. "But seriously." Lily continued reading from her paper. "Thank you for fixing our car that day. And for fixing Mom. She was sad for so long and you made her smile again. And you make me smile too. And Sophie's my best friend now. So basically you fixed everything." She looked up. "I drew you a picture. For today." She handed him a folded paper. Jake opened it. A drawing of 4 stick figures holding hands under a heart. The same drawing from a year ago. But this time, there were words at the bottom in careful 7-year-old handwriting, "We did it, love, Lily." Jake's vision blurred. He knelt down, pulled Lily into a hug. "Yeah, sweetheart. We did it." "Okay, I'm done now," Lily announced, skipping back to her spot. The ceremony continued. They exchanged rings. The officiant pronounced them married. Jake kissed his wife while their daughters cheered, and Catherine dabbed her eyes, and the small crowd applauded. At the reception, which was really just a picnic in the park, people gave toasts. Catherine talked about love being worth fighting for. Patricia Vance, who'd been invited because she'd saved them, talked about the strength it took to build a family from scratch. Sophie and Lily gave a joint speech that was mostly giggling and inside jokes. Then Elena stood. "I want to say something." The crowd quieted. "A year ago, my car broke down. I was having the worst day, worst month, worst year, honestly. I'd been through a nightmare divorce. I was drowning at work, barely keeping my head above water. And I was so angry. Angry at my ex, angry at the world, angry at myself for not being enough." She looked at Jake. "And then this man walked across the street and fixed my car for free, wouldn't take a dime, just said, 'Pay it forward.' And I thought he was crazy. Who does that? Who helps a stranger expecting nothing back? Jake Morrison does. He helped me that day. And then he kept helping, kept showing up, even when my life was a mess, even when my ex tried to destroy him, even when it would have been easier to walk away." Her voice broke. "He taught me that not all men leave, that some stay, that some fight." Jake was crying now too. "So thank you," Elena said, "for fixing my car, for fixing my heart, for being the man Lily and I didn't know we needed. I love you." Jake stood, pulled her close, kissed her in front of everyone. "I love you too," he whispered. That night, after the reception, after the guests left, after the girls were finally asleep, Jake and Elena stood in their backyard. "We did it," Elena said. "We actually made it. Had some rough patches, but we made it." Jake pulled her close. "You know what the hardest part was?" "What?" "Letting myself believe I deserved this, deserved happiness again." Elena looked up at him. "And now I know that sometimes the hardest repairs aren't under a hood. They're in the human heart." He smiled. "But I'm pretty good at repairs." "Yeah," Elena agreed. "You are." Inside they heard a crash, then giggling, then Sophie yelling, "It wasn't me." "Should we check on that?" Elena asked. "Probably." Neither of them moved. "In a minute," Jake said. "In a minute," Elena agreed. They stood there watching the stars, listening to their daughters cause chaos, and feeling something that had seemed impossible a year ago. Peace. A year later, almost to the day, Elena's car broke down again. Same problem. Loose battery terminal. Jake was at the shop when she called. "Not again," he groaned. Sorry, I know I'm supposed to maintain it better. Can you come fix it? Where are you? That same intersection. Where we met. Jake drove over. Found Elena standing beside her car looking frustrated but amused. Deja vu, he said. Right. Lily and Sophie were in the back seat, older now. Lily was 8. Sophie was 10. Both rolled their eyes at the adults. Dad, you literally showed her how to check the terminals last month, Sophie called. I forgot, Elena yelled back. Jake popped the hood, tightened the terminal same as he'd done 2 years ago. You're all set, he said. What do I owe you? Well, last time I said nothing and you ended up marrying me, so I'm afraid to ask for payment this time. Elena laughed. Too late. Already married you. You're stuck with me now. Damn. Walked right into that one. She kissed him. Come on, let's go home. Our place or mine, Jake joked. They're the same place, dummy. I know. Still fun to ask. They got in their respective cars, drove home together, to the house they shared, to the life they'd built, to the family they'd become. That night, after dinner, after homework, after bedtime stories, Jake found Lily's original drawing, the one she'd given him on their wedding day. He'd framed it, hung it in his shop. 4 stick figures holding hands under a heart. We did it, he whispered to the drawing. And somewhere he liked to think Claire was smiling, proud of him for finding love again, for being brave enough to fix his broken heart. Because sometimes the best repairs weren't the ones you planned. They were the ones that happened when you opened yourself up to possibility, when you said yes to risk, when you chose love over fear. Jake Morrison had spent 3 years afraid. Afraid of loving again. Afraid of losing again. Afraid of living again. But a little girl named Lily had whispered 5 words that changed everything. Please marry my mom. And he had. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let yourself be happy. Sometimes the hardest repairs aren't under a hood. They're in the human heart. And sometimes it takes a child's voice to remind us that love isn't found. It's built. One act of kindness at a time.